Welcome back to the show, from baseball to basketball. By the way, I'm going to bring in Kurt Helin. I wasn't planning to talk about this, but there are some people suggesting now that baseball has overtaken basketball as the second most popular sport, Kurt Helin. Do you care to opine?
I hadn't heard that. I think baseball's had a somewhat of a resurgence, it feels like, but the numbers I keep seeing are basketball, and I think where the NBA thrives and where the owners are really deriving their growth over the next few years is international. Basketball's still blowing up. They're about to have an NBA Europe. Like, that's where the real growth for the sport is. It's domestically, it is what it is. But I don't know, maybe baseball's having. I live in Los Angeles, so the Dodgers are good. So yeah, the baseball seems to be everywhere, but that's kind of its own thing.
All right, I want to run through as much as I can with you in the TV side of this. Anthony Edwards, this knee injury. How significant is it, both from a seeding standpoint for the T-Wolves, and where they stand in the West, and obviously making sure you have him healthy for the postseason?
First off, they've got to get him healthy for the postseason. They have not looked sharp now for a few weeks. They helped their seeding position a lot last night by getting a win over Phoenix, they're the 6th seed. And 7 seed Phoenix was 2 games back in the as 7 going into last night, and Minnesota got the win. Played great defense in the second half. Got a good game from Bones Highland. Got some of their backup guards to step up. DeSomo has been such a fantastic trade deadline kind of hand in glove fit for them. Getting him, freeing him from Chicago to go play meaningful basketball, and they got that win. Now they're 3 games up with, about 14 to play. I don't know exactly what the number is. Phoenix isn't playing well enough to make that ground up, probably, but they can't go on a losing streak, and they've got to find a way to get their rhythm back, because they could get the Lakers in the first round if things shake out this way right now. It'd be 3-6 would be Lakers, Minnesota. Minnesota won that last year, but if you watch both of these teams recently right now, I'd take the Lakers.
Kurt Helin, by the way, of Pro Basketball Talk at NBCSports.com, hanging out with us, in case I forgot to mention that. Speaking of the Lakers playing their best basketball of the season, peaking at the right time, you got LeBron at 41, diving all over the floor for loose balls, and seeming to understand that post most recent injury, his role on this team may have changed some, and seemingly accepting said role. Give me some thoughts on the Lakers right now. People are high on them.
Yeah, as they should be. This is a team that's always been a little dangerous because they had Luka, but they battled injuries all year. I mean, LeBron's missed a bunch of time. Ant's missed a bunch of time. There were concerns about the defense, which is really what had held me back from moving them up in the standings. But they have kind of found that in recent weeks. They have a lot more Marcus Smart, LeBron playing a role, like you said, and kind of focusing a little more on defense. The thing is, he can still help you out he's a perfect third guy right now at this point in his career, because he can still dial it up for a night. Like, you can still get some really great LeBron games. He can't bring it for 82 like he once did. The other real key for them lately is they have gotten the best out of DeAndre Ayton. And you could bet on that consistency if you want. That's one of the questions. But if he's playing engaged basketball like he did with the Suns when they were with Chris Paul and made that finals run, like, this is a Laker team that I still think they're maybe 3rd best in the West. I don't think they're on the tier of San Antonio or Oklahoma City, but getting to the second round would be a big step forward for this team, and that's really within reach the way they're defending.
Kurt, the most recent part of the Lakers' hot run was their win over the Rockets. And we talked about it, Jason and I did a little bit on the show. The Rockets did not look good at all in that game, and they really haven't at all for, the month of March, maybe even longer. What is going on in Houston right now?
2 things. They were able to get through for a while without Fred VanVleet as just a floor general. Not just like, hey, he doesn't turn the ball over, which really helps. But they were really able to, defend and pressure and lock teams down and then get out and run and get transition offense. When teams have really started to take care of the ball and slow it down and make it a half-court game, they don't have the floor general to organize it, and it all falls to Kevin Durant. And if Kevin Durant's not vintage, it's not good enough. They're just not good in a half-court offense. And we all know, we get to the playoffs, it's going to grind down to a slower game anyway. So they're really just I'll put it this way, talking to people around the league, and this has been going on for a month now, they're just not seen as a threat.
You had a book fall down behind you. I like that. Kurt,
I'm like,
are you trying to pimp out? Is this your way of pimping out a book?
Fell behind me.
Okay. All right, just checking. Was there an earthquake or something?
Maybe I didn't feel it. I grew up out here. I don't feel earthquakes under 6. So, you get them. With Houston, they really need to take a look in the offseason at how to restructure the offense a little and they've got all the talent. They've got enough talent, but it isn't defending what they aren't defending well enough as a team. And around the league for a month and a half now, nobody's seen them as a contender. Nobody thinks they're a real threat in the postseason.
Is it a coaching issue? Is it an Ime Udoka issue?
I don't think they're there yet. But players are not. They don't seem to be responding to him quite the same way, but I don't know if it's time to go in and change again. I think if you get Fred VanVleet back, you get a more mature Amen Thompson, you get guys in roles that fit them better, and maybe this thing comes together a little better. But right now, the offense is all Kevin Durant in the half court, and if they're not turning the ball over and not getting some easy buckets in transition, they're very beatable.
I just wonder if it's a Kevin Durant problem. I really do. I really do. It's the elephant in the room, the common denominator. Everywhere he goes, it feels like these days. I'm just saying. We've got one more segment with, and I like Kevin Durant. It's undeniable at this point, it feels like to me, what's going on everywhere he goes. More with Kurt Helin of Pro Basketball Talk at NBCSports.com, our NBA Weekly with him. Our NBA Weekly with Kurt Helin of Pro Basketball Talk at NBCSports.com. Continuing. He's put his set back together over there. Books falling down. It's like a poltergeist in his house or something, knocking books over.
I just assume it's the cats until proven otherwise. That's all their fault.
So look, you and I have talked on air, off air about this expansion stuff. I had even talked to people out here in Vegas who didn't even think the Vegas thing was as close to happening as it now apparently is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's March of 2026. They're talking about an NBA team starting play here for the season of 28-29. How surprised were you that this sort of sprung up and it feels like we're on the verge of NBA expansion in a couple of years?
It moved really much more quickly than I think a lot of people expected. Adam was pumping the brakes as recently as the All-Star game when he did his media tour, media availability. He said, we are going to talk about it at the governor's meeting in March. We are not going to vote on it. And between then and now, they're going to vote on it. Like a month later, they're like, no, we're voting. We're voting, which means, look, Adam Silver's a smart guy. He counted the votes. There's a vote now because he has the votes, because there is momentum to do this now. The numbers have gotten big enough where you're talking, again, they're using broad stroke numbers, 7 to 10 million for the expansion fee. You look at it this way. If it's 7.5 per team, just keep it on the low end. That's 15 for 2 teams. That's a $500 million check to each owner that they do not have to share with the players. And every one of them will do some sort of, we're going to build a new practice facility for $100 million. Like they're going to do something. They're going to do some sort of upgrade with, 100, 200 million of that and slide the rest in their pocket. So it's going to be, the numbers got to the point where they were willing to give up the equity to do it. And once he did that, he's ready to move fast. They are poised. There's a lot to do. There's got to be an expansion draft and all that. And eventually in Vegas, I imagine they're going to start at T-Mobile if they're going to start that soon. But the plan has always been to build a brand new arena as part of a resort combo down the strip somewhere. Yeah. So
because there isn't already 15 arenas in the city of Las Vegas. We need that many. We need one more. Go ahead, Sam.
Kurt, the other expansion team in Seattle, someone postulated this yesterday to me, and I've got to run it by you. We talked so much, as we did in the last segment, about Kevin Durant not fitting in seemingly everywhere he goes at this point, right? Burn the bridge with the Thunder, burn the bridge with the Warriors. Now you see what's going on in Houston. The one fan base that never stopped liking Kevin Durant was Seattle. Does he go back there as part of the expansion?
That's a really good question, because what will happen with the expansion draft? What happens every time? What happened before, and it happens in other sports. You have to protect, I don't know, 8 players, 9 players, whatever the number ends up being, right? How many players you can protect. A lot of teams will say, if we've got a really expensive veteran at the end of his career, a Kevin Durant, LeBron James guy, we're not going to protect him because they're not going to take him. Could Durant be the exception in Seattle, where they're like, yeah, we'll bring him back for a year or two? I don't know. I don't think they do it unless he wanted to do it, but he might be open to it for a year. It'd be a great full circle moment, because I love that as the expansion talk came up, everybody pulled up the pictures of Kevin Durant in Seattle.
Yeah.
His deal of Supersonics gear for years, first couple of years. That's it'd be fun to see. It'd be interesting. I think it's the one place that, by the way, they are going to put restrictions on them. They're not going to be able to get top draft picks for a couple of years. There's going to be, they're not even going to get full revenue shares for a couple of years. It's going to be hard for those teams to build quickly. It is not going to be the Golden Knights.
I think of Andres Galarraga. When the Rockies launched, Andres Galarraga was one of those kinds of guys there in Colorado. Will they be the Sonics?
Yes. In fact, part of the move to Seattle, part of move to Oklahoma City was they could not take the logo.
Okay.
They could take and the imaging. They could not bring any of it. They have the team records technically,
right?
But if the deal was, if the Sonics ever came back,
okay.
They even get the record books back.
Okay, that's what I want, and yeah, Sam's thrilled about that. That was the first thing on his mind. In the last 2 minutes, this WNBA collective bargaining deal, obviously a huge deal. Lots more money going to the players. What's your big takeaway for sort of the top line view on it?
I think there's one thing for people to grasp how big a change this is. Last year, the max salary any player could get from the WNBA, Clark, whoever, name your big star.
Yeah.
$250,000. Next season, the minimum salary is going to be a little over $300,000.
Wow.
It is going to be that kind of leap for them. But the real key for them, and they didn't get the number they ultimately wanted, but they got a piece of revenue sharing. It's just a hair below 20%, I believe. If they're close to 20% of revenue sharing, again, that's not close to what some of the other leagues have, but it's revenue sharing for a league growing crazy fast. And that's huge for them. They needed to get a share of that and get a piece of the pie. So as this league grows, they get some of the money. That's the big deal for them. That's the big takeaway. This was, at this point, as good a deal, I think, as they were going to be able to get. And it gets them, man, if the average league salary jumps to $600,000, which it's supposed to under this deal, that's now you're talking at least fair, reasonable money for the best players in the world to ply their craft.
And you know what? At the end of the day now, they don't have to, a lot of these players won't have to go play in other leagues.
Right.
They won't have to go play overseas.
You will now have that option. You will see some players, especially I think at the lower end, still do that. But your best players don't have to go play a second season to make money and that kind of money. And that's huge. And it's better for their bodies, by the way.
Yeah.
The year-round stuff wore people down.
What was with all the blowouts in the league last night, by the way?
Oh, well, you're going to get these nights. That's funny. I was looking through that because there was only 1 or 2 games where you're like, hey, man, and Minnesota was one of them where you're like, all right, Minnesota-Phoenix matters, but most of the games were Team A against tanking Team B and a couple of injuries, throw in there. But, yeah, it wasn't – you had Cleveland-Milwaukee, which looked great on paper, and now, no Giannis. And the Bucks, frankly, are just bad with him. They just as between you and me,
sure,
they got to put a plug on him, right? Like it is time, right? Like they're I think 5.5, 6 games out of the playoffs with 2 weeks, 3 weeks left in the season. Like you just end it, just end it and accept the fate this year and move on to next year. But I don't know if they're going to do that. I don't know if they're going to try to get their draft pick up. I don't know if he'll let them, but. Anyway, I think you're going to get more of this right now because you've just got tanking teams and non-tanking teams. And the tanking teams are, like, you get those games, it's just not interesting. I didn't go to a couple of games I could have gone to last week, Lakers and Clippers, because I'm like, I don't go see the Kings right now. Like,
yeah.
I'd rather, spend time with my family. My wife's shaking her head, but like, I'd rather spend time with my family than go have to watch Sacramento play basketball right now.
Oh Lord, was your wife there when we made the Hoover comment?
Oh yeah.
Oh Lord, now she's gonna. Lord,
she's in the back. She's in the background on Wednesday mornings, man, getting ready. And in our case,
sorry, wifey. Sorry.
What a tough look for Jason. I, on the other hand, respect women.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh at that. Sam,
I respect them so much. I don't even sleep with them. Isn't that wasn't that the 40-year-old virgin? I think he says that. I respect women so much I don't even sleep with them.
I forgot about that movie. The one of the great the waxing scene, still one of the great
one of the great movie scenes of all time for sure. We talk about 1 through 4 in the West and what it means to stay out of certain teams' ways. How much do you think that plays in the East? Because it's Detroit and maybe you're not as worried about them.
It's a really interesting thing because Detroit's going to get the 1 seed, and that might be the team you fear. You fear less than Boston, less than New York. Like Cleveland, if healthy, maybe you fear. Like I can tell you that Detroit doesn't strike fear in the hearts of teams the same way, right? Just because they haven't done it yet, and because there's questions about secondary scoring, and they've lost some games to good teams who came in and made Cade's life difficult, and then you're like, what's Jalen Duren? And Jalen Duren's deserved All-Star, but in the mix for most improved, but like he can't create his own shot the same way they need a guy to do. So it's going to be interesting, but they're not going to get it in the 8, but it's going to be interesting. Would you rather be, I'd rather be the 4 seed rather than the 2-3, because that's going to be a matchup I like better. It's going to be interesting to see if there's some jockeying at the end to try to get in to a spot you like a little better on that side.
Miami-Boston might be an interesting first-round matchup.
Miami's a tough out for anybody. They defend well. They play hard. They've also, when healthy, and they'll have guys. They got shooters. They got guys. Like Tyler Hero can create. Bam obviously can score 83 any night. But like they've got guys on the perimeter who can put up real value, and they play within the system. I think it'll go without saying they'd be well coached. They would be well prepped for any series. So like they are a tough out right now. They're playing their best basketball at the best part of the season, and this is as good as they can be.
Are you hearing anything about Curry, like a return here? We're at 60. There's 14 games left in the season. They're a borderline play-in team here, and they'll probably still be a play-in team because after Portland, everything just falls off the table. So they're going to be a play-in team, Golden State. But, are they literally just going to say, hey, we know we're going to be nothing more than a play-in team. We'll rest him all the rest of the way because we're getting in anyway?
They're not just going to be a play-in team. They're going to be the 9-10 play-in team.
Right.
They are going to have to win 2 to get out of the play-in, which is it's been done. It's not impossible, certainly against this level of team, but they're not playing that well either. They don't without Jimmy Butler, they don't really have enough shot creation outside of Curry. And look, he's not back from this knee thing. They want him back next season. Not seeing him until 1 or 2 games, until late in the regular season, is kind of what I've heard from a couple teams. They think they're going to sit on it that long, and even debate. Look, I had somebody tell me they'd even try to talk him out of playing in the playoffs, which I don't think they'd be able to do. But they'd be like, "Hey, can we just write this season off? Like this didn't go well. We're all banged up. Let's come back next year and go at it, and we'll make some moves in the off season and go get somebody, and Jimmy will get healthy, and we got a chance." But it's going to be interesting. They're so deep in the play-in that getting out of the play-in, like if they get an athletic team like Portland, I don't know if they can beat them in a one-off game. Like they're certainly vulnerable.
Sam?
Kurt, my only thing for me is we're getting started with the NCAA tournament on Thursday. What do you think NBA teams are going to be looking the most? Which player do you think they're going to be looking the most closely at? Is it Darren Peterson to see how he fares against better competition? Is it AJ Dybonsa, Cam Boozer? Who do you think is the number one on all of these scouts' binoculars right now.
Here's some interesting stuff. It's less. First off, NBA teams put less stock in this than you think they do.
Really?
They've already got their stuff figured out. What they want to see is combine medicals and interviews, and the one-on-one workouts matter way more to them generally than this tournament. They've done their scouting. They know. They are curious. Look, Peterson's got questions because of the injury. He's looked great. He could really. I don't want to say solidify number one. He's going to go one or two, almost certainly, but he could really put a lock on number one if he came out and had a really great tournament. Because I think there's a lot of people believe that he's got if he can show where his upside belongs, where people think it should be, then he'll be fine. The guys who really helped themselves in this tournament, I'll tell you one guy. When I kept talking to teams, I put together a mock draft, and I had Mikal Brown from Louisville in front of him. Why am I going blank on his name suddenly? I just had it on my head 2 seconds ago. Top high pick starts with an A, not Acuna.
Darius Akoff?
Akoff, thank you. I don't know why I couldn't.
Sam Yarnell to the rescue. Sam Yarnell to the rescue.
No, I don't know why I suddenly, he was in my head. I'm watching my head playing pictures of him knocking down shots for Arkansas.
Well, people are saying he's the best guard Calipari's ever had. Do you believe that to be true?
I don't believe anything John Calipari really ever said. No, Akoff's a name that comes up a lot. Teams are really high on him, which I thought was interesting because I thought he stood out at the World Basketball Classic. The Nike Hoop Summit last year when I saw him. He can shoot the ball. He's got a quick release. My only concern was he's 6'2" in shoes, so he's not terribly big for a guard. And to be blunt, he is the worst defender in the lottery. And so I thought that would hurt his case, but it's kind of the opposite. He's been such a good scorer and floor general that a lot of teams are looking really hard at him. He has shot up. The guys, by the way, who helped themselves in the tournament are really either seniors, late firsts, guys who, not Lindenborg, but some of the other guys out of Michigan.
Cohen Carr out of Michigan State kind of guys.
Yeah, exactly. Guys who are hey, especially seniors, but guys who are in the 20s or 30s on draft boards come out and show big here, and suddenly hey, maybe he's a little better than we thought under pressure. Maybe we should take a longer look at this guy. Those are the guys who can really help themselves more. The top of the draft, look, there's a locked-in top 9. People vary the order, but there's a drop from 9 to 10 once you get past probably Emmett at 10 or at 9. When you get to, I don't know, Koa Pete or whoever you're going to put at 10, there's a significant drop. There's a hard line on everybody's board. So that top 9 isn't shifting. But if in a world, especially an NIL world and if I'm 19 and I'm going to be taken 24th, I'll probably go back, especially with a weak draft class behind me. I'm going to make the same money in college. I'll go for a year. I'll go back and come out a more complete player that will go higher in the draft and get a little more money, and I'll do that. So it's the guys in the 20s who have a real chance to move up and stand out.
That's Kurt Helin, Pro Basketball Talk at NBCSports.com, joining us in the NBA Weekly. Always appreciate you, my friend. Be well. Your regards to my regards to your lovely wife. Tell her I'm really not a terrible human being.
Look, nobody thinks you're a terrible human being, and she loves me because I gave her Pat Riley. She can have the Pat Riley statue, and so what else could a woman want? Yeah.
She's already hit the jackpot with you.
Exactly. It doesn't get any better than this. So.
Yeah. Thank you, my friend. Be well.
Take care, man.